Has the race for 2027 started? Mahmood Jega, Arise News analyst, joins me to review the political happenings. Thank you so much, particularly in Kano State. Thank you so much for being on the news tonight.
Thank you.
I mean, they say talk is cheap and actions speak louder than words. But I think that's the right place to start. Has the politics of 2027 started in earnest?
It started the day after the 2023 election ended. Maybe we have not yet seen people declaring for the presidency or for governorships in 2027. But the fact is that we have structures of the major political parties and also people who are more or less professional politicians, and they are working every day, campaigning, making speeches, trying to denigrate the opposition, their opponents. So the race has always been on, and it is on every day. But maybe it's a bit early to say the race for 2027 has started because we have not seen major candidates emerging. Indeed.
I mean, INEC, there's a process to it. INEC still has to announce a date, preparations, and all of that. But where does all of this leave governance? And I want us to focus particularly in Kano State. We've seen so much happening in Kano State, from traditional to politics. It's a lot to handle as a governor of the state, isn't it?
Very, very difficult. I mean, Kano, as we can see, even having two large emirs in one place is a very big destruction. But Kano has always been like that. Politics in Kano has always been very, very hot. In the Second Republic, it was a very hot contest between MPN and PRP. Even in the Third Republic, between SDP and NRC, it was quite hot. And since 1999, between PDP, sometimes against APC, sometimes against CB, what is Buhari's political party, CPC,
yes, CPC.
And so more recently against NNPP. So Kano has always been like that. It is a large state with a huge population and a very sophisticated electorate. So you don't expect anything less. The best we can hope for is that things should never degenerate into violence. But if it is talk and contest, that one probably is okay.
And when you look at the actors in all of this, on the one hand for the NNPP is the former governor of the state, Senator Rabi Kwankwaso, who left office, by my count, over a decade ago now. But he's still making significant claims about what will happen in 2027 election. What does that say about politics? Is this a case of strong men?
He is one of the few strong men standing in Nigerian politics. I mean, people who, even after they left political office, remained quite relevant and influential. You must give that to him. But this statement that he made, I think, was it today or yesterday, well, politicians must boast because it's necessary to pump up your supporters and also, as much as possible, demoralize your opponents. However, I don't see the concrete basis for Rabi Musa Kwankwaso's boast that he will reduce.
He's citing the 2023 elections where the PDP gained just about 15,000 votes, according to him.
He did. 2003 and 2007 are 4 years apart. And in a state like Kano, it can be very different because Kano has one of the most sophisticated electorates in Nigeria. Let me cite just two small examples. In 2003 election in Kano, Kwankwaso himself knows better because he was the governor. And the PDP, his party, was ruling in the state and also at the federal level. But he was defeated in the governorship election by a very little known school teacher, Mala Ibrahim Shekarau, at the time. So it's a telling point that neither APC, which controls the federal government now, nor NNPP, which controls the Kano state government, can be guaranteed of victory in 2007. And also the second case was in 2011 when General Buhari was the presidential candidate of CPC. In the presidential election, he swept Kano by a large margin. Only 2 weeks later, in the gubernatorial election, the contest was between ANPP and PDP, and his own CPC got paltry votes. The electorate shifted completely within 2 weeks. So Kano is one of the least predictable states politically. And this boast by Dr. Kwankwaso, whether it is because NNPP now controls the state government, you should know that that one is not a guarantee, because he was a governor in 2003 when he was
let's talk about his party, the NNPP. There are internal wranglings. In fact, some people say they've lost count of the factions. So there are 2 or there are 3 factions with the NNPP at the moment. So you wonder how he's so confident to still make such a claim going to the elections in 2027. What is the state of the NNPP? And can Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso actually, still make this sort of boast?
He's a very confident and very aggressive kind of politician, which is good. But honestly, you can see since the election last year, his party has not expanded its base, for example, outside Kano State. And even within Kano, there has been serious contestation in recent weeks. The party almost split into 2 recently, because there are some party members and officials who are encouraging the governor. They formed a movement called that means the governor should stand on his feet, meaning he should reject Kwankwaso as the political godfather. And at one point it looked like they were succeeding, because some members of the State Assembly and House of Assembly and some commissioners and SSG were openly campaigning for it, and then the party itself, the state branch, which was controlled by the leader Kwankwaso, expelled them and suspended them. But later on they seem to have patched up matters, because the governor even sacked those people that the leader didn't like. But it could be piece of the graveyard. We never know what will happen.
The quiet before the storm.
It could be.
There's also the factor of the Kwankwaso movement, which is one of the largest political movements we have at this time in Nigeria, credited to Kwankwaso himself. So he does bring that to the table.
It's a major
on the other hand, where you have the APC, the current national chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, was a former governor of the state and former deputy to Kwankwaso. So there's a lot of power play here. But what does the APC bring to the table in all of this for controversy back and forth ahead of the 2027 election?
The way I see things, both APC, the way things stand now, both APC and NNPP are likely to have problems in Kano State in the run-up to 2027 unless things change. Because really, what defeated Kwankwaso in 2003 in Kano was the perception of the Obasanjo-led federal government, which the people of Kano didn't like very much. Now, right now, with all the socio-economic problems we are having with the cost of living and others, APC, which controls the federal government, stands the risk, of losing support in Kano because of the perception of the federal government's performance. The same thing, the Kano state government itself could easily alienate. In fact, that's easier because the state government is nearer the people. They see what it is doing or not doing, and already there are factions and all kinds of tales. So the state government itself could also alienate the people, and NNPP could lose support. But luckily for both of them, the election is still 2.5 years away. So some things might change, but the way things are going, both of them are not in a very good standing with the electorate in Kano.
Interesting. And finally, for the governor, who has had to do with this politics and the intrigues, what are his prospects? We have seen governors who don't return for second term. What are his prospects with all of this happening?
Well, the first thing is he has to keep the base that elected him last year. And that means maintaining peace with the party leader, Kwankwaso, and also maybe performing. But there is absolutely no guarantee, because I can count nearly 20 cases since 1999 of people all over Nigeria who were made state governors by godfathers who fell out with them. Sometimes they succeeded. You may reject the godfather and still be able to hold your ground. Sometimes all of them crash. There are many examples all over the country. It's a very tricky relationship between godfathers and godsons who become powerful like governors. And the governor himself of Kano is not very, very assertive. Maybe that was why even some of his colleagues were saying, forming this movement that he should stand on his
That's
feet.
it.
They are blaming the Godfather, saying he teleguides him. And
the APC has also raised that accusation that, I mean, he's teleguiding the governor. He doesn't have a standing of his own. But for the governor, Kwankwaso has no relevance, is what the APC is saying.
Well, because the truth is that Abba Gida Gida, as they call him in Kano, would probably never have become governor without the political wings of Rabiu Kwankwaso. There is no doubt about that. He was a lightweight politically, but he is the governor now. So he should exercise all the constitutional powers, and ultimately his political future will depend on his own charisma and his own achievements and performance.
Indeed, very well said. Thank you so much, Mahmoud Jega, Rise News analyst, for joining us on the news tonight. We do appreciate your time.